Why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Estrada. I'm born and raised in New York City.
Right.
And I've lived in California and Colorado.
Has that helped in your discoveries?
Definitely. I first found out about CBD in 2014, living in Colorado.
Because that's where it's legal right now.
Yes.
Colorado and California.
No, CBD has been legal recently everywhere. It's like nationwide.
CBD, right?
Legal. THC is where it's the only one hasn't been passed.
So, okay, what is the difference between CBD and THC?
CBD is derived from the hemp plant, not the actual marijuana plant that produces THC.
Okay.
And the difference between CBD and THC is that CBD gives you the body medicinal effects.
Okay.
THC gives you the psychological,
Highness.
Yeah, the psychological effects in your brain, pretty much.
Okay.
Whereas CBD doesn't really affect you; it doesn't get you high.
Right. So, what are some of the those medicinal benefits that CBD has?
Well, first, it's anti-anxiety.
That's like the main thing.
Yes, helps fight cancer. Could help you withdraw from smoking cigarettes, believe it or not.
It helps you stop smoking cigarettes?
Like withdraw from just smoking, period. Like when I stopped smoking weed for a while, I would just take like CBD tablets.
Oh wow.
Help me kind of off for good.
So how is CBD derived? Like how is it made?
Well, it's grown from the hemp plant and they extract it. They can turn it into distillate or an isolate. You can put it in drinks, you can put it in food, you can put it in
the oil form.
You can put it in the oil form, yes.
And
isolate
the oil,
is more.
Okay,
yes.
so what's the isolate? What is that?
Yes, isolate it's more of a powder form. And
Okay.
It's more water soluble than the oil form.
Okay.
So they use that for the drinks.
The powder.
The powder, yes.
Okay.
And certain edibles too.
Edibles. And then the oil is something that you're going to find in your body lotion.
Yes.
Okay. And the honey, what would you put in the honey?
Honey, I use the distillate for honey.
Okay.
And I've seen
because you're a merchant, right?
Yes.
CBD. Why don't you let the people know where they can find your stuff?
So I have a company called Calibre. And
what that?
It's pretty much in the making right now, so you can find myself in an online store and some stores throughout the city for now. But in the meantime, it's still growing.
Okay. Now, what do you know about the laws surrounding weed versus CBD?
It varies from state to state.
State to state.
Nationwide, CBD is legal, but with THC, still legal in some states. Even here, even though it's medicinally legal here in New York State.
What, THC?
THC, yes.
So it is medicinally?
Medicinally, yes.
So that means that I can go to a doctor and get a prescription?
And apply, yes. You got...
where's the dispensaries at?
They're throughout the city. They have them here, but...
they're kind of low key though, right?
It's actually illegal in smokable form still.
Oh,
so
really?
So with THC, you can still use the oils and the edibles and the vape pens and stuff like that, but you still can't smoke it.
THC?
In New York State. THC, yes.
Okay.
But the CBD, you can find
anywhere. It's crazy right now.
Any little smoke shop. I've seen it in regular grocery stores throughout the city, gas stations.
So, when do you feel at all that we're going to come to a place in society where THC and CBD are going to be socially accepted and just legal and it's going to be an everyday part of our life?
I believe so, but it'll take time. They just passed, I guess, some law saying that they're going to make THC legal on a federal level. Hopefully that does happen, and that'll open many doors.
So, just for the people who don't know, when we're talking federal versus state, right? That's countrywide versus like state by state. And how does that affect the use of THC and CBD legally?
Well, THC, let me just say that kind of like how they legalize drinking at a certain age in certain countries, when it's like 16, 18 years old, you can start drinking legally in certain countries. And alcohol isn't abused as much. But the same thing's going to happen here. Like once it turns legal.
I actually feel that it's kind of important because whether we like it or not, people are going to be smoking, right? Or just ingesting this drug. And I think some kind of regulation would definitely help because I would love to know what it is I'm smoking. And there needs to be some kind of accountability and some kind of way of like me knowing that, what's in here is what you say is in here.
Like I said, when I lived in Colorado and Cali, especially Cali, it's so regulated because they test for pesticides.
Exactly.
All like growth regulators and stuff that contains chemicals, that fuck with your your brain, your body,
So out there in California, Colorado, and I also do know, like in places
they get their weed tested.
Yeah, like in the Nordic countries, like Amsterdam being one of them, where and they also gone back to a way of doing it that's very medical. So you're not going to hear names like Sugar Crush Hash or whatever, it's going to be like a medical name, and you're going to know that in this medical strain, or just generally because weed is like, it's from nature, it's like medicine, right? You're going to have those medicinal names with the medicinal properties, and you're going to know exactly what you're intaking.
All the cannabinoids, all of that stuff matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether we contains a bit of THC and
how much CBD?
More CBD and less CBD.
Do you know, so what's important to know about the CBD versus THC content of what you're smoking or what you're intaking?
Well, it is important to know because CBD, you can smoke CBD flower and it'll just give you like a body relaxation. As to where you smoke like THC and you just get stupid or stuck, or depending on the indica, sativa, with CBD, and you can't really expect like the body and the mind high that you get from them.
Yeah. So just basically, knowing like what you're intaking. And what that's going to do.
No, that's important. And then knowing what's inside of it. Like I said, you don't want any pesticides or like any other chemicals in there. I feel like it's important that they test the weed for all of that stuff, the CBD and the THC.
And they're just not doing that right now because it's unregulated.
The black market doesn't do that.
There's a CBD black market?
I'm not sure, but there's definitely companies that grow CBD, like hemp plants, that use pesticides and all types of growth regulators, that affect, the quality. I'm all into organic, I'm all into natural, so I'm always looking for vendors or growers or distributors that, grow the most organic way possible.
Right. I think. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the way the whole world is moving right now. Is more organic, more nature-based, more.
It's kind of like the food, you know.
Exactly.
I don't want to eat GMO food.
Right.
I'm not going to a fast food joint.
Right.
You know.
You're not doing that no more.
So it's important, like where I get my CBD from, especially.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know who the grower is. I want to know, you know.
So where do you go out to get your
I have different sources in Colorado and Calibre.
I got my sources. I know my people. You know.
There's some in Vermont and upstate New York too that they're really good. But where I first got the idea from was when I was living out there and getting connected with people out there too. So.
Yeah. Do you think that business right now is booming? Like CBD right now is
it's a $1 billion industry. It'll keep growing.
Wow. Well, I'll take your number off. Anyway, I just want to say thank you for coming on and sharing your knowledge. Always love to have you. Guys, we're going to be looking more into what CBD is, how it's derived, where you can get it, what it's for. But for now, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.